My name is Tommy Flournoy. I am going into 10th grade at Ingleside High School, and I have been a member at Oak Ridge Baptist Church for about 2 years.
Introduce us to your dad.
We have very similar names, right? He is Tommy Lynn Flournoy. That's my dad there. This was, I think my mom had said it was on a field trip, right? He was an incredibly handy man. He knew just about everything you could about cars. He was amazing at fixing computers, laptops, you know. He was a handyman. He was a man's man, absolutely. He was self-sufficient. He was hardworking. He was, you know, with the American dream and all. He lived it, right? He ran his own business. He was an entrepreneur. He had a loving family. He loved God. He was a God-fearing man. So my father, he was a wonderful parent. If we ever had a problem, we could go to him, whether that be physical, emotional, you know. If something had broke, we could give it to him. If something had broke inside of us, we could tell him. He was so loving, right? Like he was a busy guy, but you could absolutely tell that he cherished every single moment he could with us. And if he ever had time off, it was spent with us pretty much. But he kind of taught me what it looks like to live in fellowship with God, you know. Again, he was just such an uplifting guy. He was such a positive man, right? And he kind of showed me what a godly man looks like, right? He showed me what it meant to truly live by faith, because he was definitely a man who was like, he was not a two-faced man. He was not a, you know, like with Atticus and To Kill a Mockingbird. I can't live one way in my house and live on the street another, you know?
Right.
He was not that type of man.
Sounds like you loved your dad very much.
I absolutely did. I don't know when he was admitted to the hospital or when he came down with it, but he got COVID. After my dad caught it, I don't think he kind of just continued to deteriorate, is the best word. Eventually, we had to call the hospital. They sent out people, and I remember them coming upstairs and like getting a stretcher and putting him on it and taking him down the stairs. And at that moment, I didn't really understand how serious it was. You know, I never put it together like, oh, he's dying. Like he's really sick. He's not okay, you know? And eventually, he seemed to be doing a bit better, and he was able to text with us, right? He started to text us, and I remember the night before he died, he sent me, like, he said, "Hey bro," right? And I just that, right? Like, nothing else, right? And I asked him, yeah? Like, with like a question mark, right? And he said, just telling you I love you, bro. And he had like the little heart at the end. And I told him, I love you too. And that was my final words to him. I feel like God acted in that moment. And I'm so glad he did. Just out of the blue, the night before, he texted me that, hey bro, right? I'm glad I got some amount of last words to him. My dad passed on June 22nd of 2021, and eventually passed in the hospital due to, I believe, his lungs collapsing. It was a very kind of heart-crushing moment whenever Mom had told us, whenever she came home. It was very hard news to take.
Were you ever angry at God?
I'll be honest, no. And I think that was part of how my dad's faith rubbed off on me. God gave us everything. How can we be angry at him if he takes it away? Don't get me wrong, I was sad. I missed him. I was upset. I cried a lot, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it was incredibly hard to process that, right? But I never had this like, rage. Because I never thought that there was this great mistreatment of him, or that God had done some injustice to me. And I'm glad I did have some amount of knowledge of God, because that made it made it easier to process it, because I knew he was in a better place.
You're looking forward to seeing your dad one day.
Oh, absolutely. And that's something that's so wonderful about the Christian faith to me, right? It's that assurance, it's that knowing that you do have a place in there, in heaven, you know. Eventually, you will see all your family members, your everyone, you know.
Everyone who's placed their faith and trust in Jesus.
Absolutely. You will see them again. And that's something that's so wonderful to me. And that is something I do look forward to.